Hi, seventh grade. I just want to go over the answers to your two column notes from yesterday. I know it's kind of difficult when we're not in class together talking about history, but I hope the Khan Academy video gave you some interesting information about Andrew Jackson and why he was so different from past presidents. I mean, one of the things that makes him stand out as compared to other presidents was that he's the first president who actually came from the western part of the United States, which is considered to be the newer part of the United States. All previous presidents had come from the eastern part, more specifically, either from Massachusetts or Virginia. So he's extremely different in that respect. But I just want to go over the answer to these questions with you. So, for example, first one, what was the age of Jackson? You should have put a time period between 1824 and 1845 where Jackson dominated American politics. Now, by dominated, what they're saying is that he had a very large influence in how the government was being run. Also, during this time period, we're starting to see something called suffrage pop up. Now, suffrage is the right to vote. Now, we're in the mid to late 1800s, so it's going to be suffrage for African American men and for women. Now, African American men actually do gain the right to vote with the passage of the 15th Amendment, but women do not gain the right to vote until the passage of the 19th Amendment, and that wasn't until 1920. So your next question is, what percentage of voters actually came out to vote by 1840? And this is actually a huge majority as compared to before. It's about 80%. And one of the things that you have to remember is that the majority of the people who came out to vote were white males. Next question, what groups of people did not have the right to vote? So obviously anybody who's not a white male. So women, Native Americans, African Americans, and in some states, if you did not own property or if you did not have land of your own, you also could not vote. So in reality, it was actually a pretty unfair way to determine who's elected to what position in politics. Now, in 1824, we do have a brand new election. Remember, our fifth president is James Monroe, and at this point, he's on his way out of office. So, in terms of the first five presidents, these are the presidents that we call the revolutionary presidents because they all had a role in some way, shape, or form during the Revolution. John Quincy Adams won the election of 1824. He did not play a huge part in reality. He was actually pretty young during the time of the Revolution. He is John Adams' son, and they are the first example of a father-son combo in the White House. John Adams was the second president, and John Quincy Adams was the sixth president. Later on, more towards our time, you can see that again. George H.W. Bush was president of the United States, and then later on, his son, George W. Bush, who was president during the 9/11 terrorist attacks, was also president of the United States. So those questions were the ones that you should have read pages, I believe it was 302 to 306 to get the answers for. But then I also wanted you to look at a chart on page 305. Now, this is the chart on page 305, and you will see with the election of 1824 that there are actually four candidates. Now, today, we are so used to the two-party system that seeing four candidates might seem a little bit strange to us. But in the election of 1824, there were actually four candidates. You have Andrew Jackson, John Quincy Adams, William Crawford, and Henry Clay. Now, the question wanted you to look at which two candidate positions were most similar and how were they similar. So in order to determine that, you would have had to go to main positions, this particular section of the chart. And you'll notice that John Quincy Adams and Henry Clay had the biggest similarities between the two. So between supporting tariffs and trying to develop a domestic way to make the United States better, so working on canals and roads. William Crawford was very different, and as was Andrew Jackson. So that should have been response to your answer. Okay? Thanks. Bye-bye.